my friend Reese and I, super dope, were bored, and our friends on the Near East Side at Tin Comet Coffee, now Ravel's also great. You should go there and get coffee. Hey, you should go there and get coffee. There's a Ravel cup back there. That was cool. That worked out. And they wanted to get in on the first Friday game, and I was like, well, what about women? And then we did it. And then somebody was like, so when's the next one? And I'm like, are you going to plan it? Because this takes a lot of work. So I'm really glad that we're still here and going strong, and I'm so glad all of you are here to celebrate with us. This show in particular has been a long time in the making. Sometimes, I don't know, doing them thematically can be difficult because it's like, how do you pick a topic and just kind of stick with it? And wanting to celebrate mothers for a hot minute, and I wasn't quite sure how to frame it. So we're here. We made it. I want to read you something from a book and then do all the how-to-dos. And then we're going to get started with performances because I don't want to talk anymore. So this book is called Revolutionary Mothering. I found out about it through a friend of mine who has a podcast. Her name is Amy, and the podcast is called Mother. It's cool. It's for mothers or anybody who's ever had one. It's like, okay. But this is an anthology, and a lot of people who are mothering human beings submitted work to this project, and it's Black feminist queer theory, and that's a lot of words just to say that people who aren't considered like mothers in so many different ways are figuring out how to language that. And the person who edited this book, well, there's a few, but one of the people is probably one of my favorite writers. I just want to read like a quick excerpt from this essay. It's called Mother Ourselves. So this is by Alexis Pauline Jones. The radical potential of the word mother comes after the M. It is the space that other takes in our mouths when we say it. We are something else. We know it from how fearfully institutions wield social norms and try to shut us down. We know it from how we are transforming the planet with our very messy step toward making life possible. Mamas who unlearn domination by refusing to dominate their children, extended family and friends, community caregivers, radical child care collectives, all of us breaking cycles of abuse by deciding what we want to replicate from the past and what we need to urgently transform, our mothering ourselves. So that's a big reason why we're all here. And most of the performers tonight are mothers, and I think it's really, really special. I am not one, but I also feel like this space has been mothered, if that makes sense. So every performer who has contributed to this space has mothered it in some way. And this particular stage, over 120 female artists, not replicated, have performed on this stage for years. That just shows you, like, when people are just like, they don't want to pay people, or they're just like, women can't hold an audience. I'm like, that's bullshit. We did it, and we're doing it. And I want to keep on doing it for however long it needs to be done. And a lot of different spaces have sprung up over the last couple of years. And so I think it just shows us that women are awesome. I'm going to stop talking now, and I'll talk more about shehive later because I've already talked too much. I want to bring up our first artist. Sorry, this is louder than I thought it was. Okay. I want to bring up our first artist. This woman, I saw her perform probably like one of the first few shows I went to when I moved here. And to see her again a few weeks ago was really, really cool because reflecting on how the creative process changes over time, and her work really resonates with me. And she is a wordsmith, to say the very least. So I want y'all to give it up for Lisa Devon, please.
What's up, you guys? mothering can be some serious work, but I'm going to start out with something a little light. It's called Cougar Moms, and it's based on a true story. We're Cougar Moms, and we're on the prowl. We got to consider it's our time to howl. We need young men to make us growl. Don't ask our age. That's a foul. Boys think they're cool because they're in bands, but like any other, they're all hands. But they're so cute with their tats and their vans. Just ignore the hourglass sands. Dancing and partying, we all enjoyed the rock and beat. So glad we had a chance to meet. You could get in our car. Ooh, just move that car seat. Uh-oh, now he turns up the heat. But this ain't no doubleheader. Boy, you just pitched a no-hitter. See, we not 20 and covered in glitter. No, we not gonna follow you on Twitter. Big fun was had, but now back home to the sitter, back to a mom's life with children's litter and cleaning up the overflowing shitter and cleaning up after every critter. It's our duty, so we're not bitter. Well, we can't wait for our next outing. Cougar Mom's assets you'll be touting. We still got it, so don't start doubting and trust it is you who will end up pouting, because our lives, we are not rerouting. Hey. I tell you what will reroute your life, and that is a troubled teen. And I have one, and I wrote this. It's called Promise. You were born when all of our hopes for the future manifested in human form. And we filled you with our love, and we nurtured you with our dreams, invested everything we had in you, sacrificing work time to dote on you, leveraging our future for yours. And when we held you, tiny as you were, you held so much promise. And we promised to do our very best for you, and we really, really tried. But you were never like the other children, always preferring the adulation of adults to interaction with your peers. And boy, were those adults impressed with you and your vocabulary. Your peers, not so much. But you had much to learn from them. And I know you tried so hard to act like them, but they sensed your difference and kept you at a distance. We thought you would mature socially, that you would figure it out, that you would learn to use that agenda book, that you would complete homework assignments. After all, you had so much promise. And we poured all of our hopes and dreams into you, and you were brilliant. And we dreamed of all the things you could become, but all you ever wanted was to be liked. And we couldn't do that for you. See, we only loved you, and we thought that was enough, but somehow it never was. And we gave you everything we had, and some stuff we didn't, and it was never enough. We could never convince you that we loved you fully, unconditionally, totally, because every chiding, every criticism, every corrective word cut you to the quick. We were only trying to make you better, the best you could be, in fact. And then we did the unthinkable. We gave you a playmate, a friend of your very own, but all you saw was someone taking your spotlight, dulling your shine with her baby cuteness. She never had to pick up toys, so we must love her more. And she was sweet and beautiful, kind, loving, and gentle, and eventually you loved her too. When she wasn't stealing your mommy and daddy, you loved having someone to dominate, someone to worship you. And we continued to believe in the promise that you were so brilliant that you could be anything you wanted. And we tried to encourage you and help you, but you wouldn't even help yourself. And you certainly never helped us. In fact, the only thing you ever excelled at was excuses. And when you weren't willing to work hard enough to be great at something, but still demanded praise. You only work on things you love and care about, and everyone else's needs be damned. And when you became willful and defiant, we made the choice to be better than our parents and not beat you into submission. I didn't want to break your strong spirit. You're going to need that someday, many days, because you're hard-headed like your mother. In retrospect, that might have been a bad decision, because I sure want to lay a hand on your smart mouth now, but I can't afford it. It doesn't matter anyway, because no punishment ever dissuaded you, much less taught you a lesson. You push every limit to the breaking point, because in your world, rules are for other people. But we still tried to believe in the promise as your brilliance started to fade, eclipsed by your laziness, soiled with your shitty attitude, gobbled up by your greed, and lousy with your lack of empathy. You learned to work toward your goals all right. Sadly, they were lying, cheating, and stealing to get whatever you wanted, of course, getting high. You're only ever sorry that you got caught, and one day you will get caught, and you won't be able to charm your way out of it this time. As much as we love you, we will be glad to see you get your comeuppance. You see, I feel like the stock market of my life crashed, and I lost half my investments. I feel like I bet the wrong horse, like I'm playing the wrong slot machine, like I'm trying to bluff a losing hand. But Lucy has taken away the football one too many times, and this sap isn't falling for the BS anymore. And all we have left is your fervent angry promise to move out on the day you turn 18. And we hope it comes true, for when the drama machine is finally silenced, your first friend will get her family back. All right, I know that was heavy, so I'm not going to leave you there. I got one last piece. The theme is similar, however, but the age is lower. So this is where it started, if you will. My honey, my baby, just put them toys on the shelf. Don't tell me no lies and keep your hands to yourself. If you got a kid who's a destroyer, then boy, I feel sorry for you, but this is what you tell them. Tell them the reason I don't take you places is not because I'm broke. It's because everywhere we go, something gets broke. You take my things without asking. You break them, and your guilt you're masking. In my success you're basking, but you won't do my tasking. Ever since you was little, any big mess, and you're right in the middle. You disappear at the mall, causing my heart to stall. Lulu Guinness sunglasses. Crushed by little asses. It's maddening what passes for love these days. I turn around and you're on my feet. I want to sit down and you're in my seat. You kick me under the table when I take you out to eat. You beg me for food, but then you don't eat it. You ask my advice, but then you don't heed it. You ask me a question, but you don't listen to the answer. My anger, it grows like a cancer. I give you an inch, but you take a mile. Mommy, how come you never smile? How come you always spill your drink? And you can't bring your dishes to the sink. What's on your shirt? Ink? Go take a shower, you stink. You make a mess faster than I can clean it. I throw junk away, and from the trash, you clean it. Go clean your room, and I mean it. Don't you roll your eyes at me, I've seen it. I want you to help me to keep up this place. And you got the nerve to make that face. Let me help you out, Ace. Without me, you would have no space. So you better get to cleaning up your home base and get the heck out of my face. You see, if I had $1 on my shelf, every time I had to say hands to yourself, I could go off by myself. Where it's better for my health and I can keep my wealth. Oh, but I'm worried that someone might get hurt. When all that you care about is dessert. But you barfed on your birthday cake. How much more must I take? You tell me that my hair is gray. Well, you made it that way, arguing everything I say. Well, no negotiating today. Go outside and play! But there was a string, so I had to pull it. You make me hungry for a bullet. You go ahead on, you get back to the pool. I'm going to send you to boarding school. You poured hot grease down my drain. Again. You are driving me insane. You cause a persistent pain right in my brain, and I will cease to complain when I board the plane. For Greece, France, or Spain, and it kills me because you got the smarts. You test off the charts in reading, math, and arts, and of course, killer farts. But you miss the obvious parts, and every answer starts, huh? What? Still, you're clever like a little fox. You can make anything out of an old box, but I know that you're wearing my socks. And I'm just about to change these locks and send you to the school of hard knocks. Why did I find my best sweater under your bed wetter? Through nice and clean, through dirty and mean, and everything in between, and every big ugly scene from my little drama queen, we will keep you alive until you're 18. But until then, you keep your hands to yourself. Thank you.
Y'all give us release one more time. Up next, I won't talk right now. Up next, I'll do it the next go round. Up next is another person that I met like kind of before I moved here. Actually, that's kind of cool. And there's been a lot of like, oh God, I don't even know how to explain this. Anyway, I don't know her very well, but I do know that I love her work, and I love that I get to admire who who she is from afar. And I think that a lot of what she has to share very vulnerably, there's something to gain from that sense of intimacy, like, because we are struggling, we struggle together because you're saying the words out loud. Does that make sense? So this person practices that to the nth degree, and I appreciate it so much. Y'all give it up for Angelina Williams.
Okay, so I really didn't come prepared for this. However, I am going to tell the story. This is the story of a little girl who didn't know who she was, trying to raise children to be who they are. So the story starts when the girl is 14 years old and she meets this nice fella who has all of the bells and whistles that we're told to look for. He has a car, he has money, he has, well, he really isn't cute, but he has other things kind of, going for himself. And so she falls into the trap of this young man. And her and her mom kind of get into some things, and the mom sends her to her dad. So, she's still 14, so she's running around, and she's playing, and she's climbing trees, and she's wrestling boys, and she's just having fun. And she also notices that her bra's not fitting like it should, so, she kind of calls her mom a little concerned and just says, you know what, Mom, just sit me home, because, Dad is starving, and he hasn't fed me since I've been here. So the girl goes back home, and Mom seems to notice there's a little something different about her, too. And so Mom makes the doctor's appointment. So the girl goes to the doctor's appointment. She's all dressed in her JROTC uniform, and everything's still fitting right, and she had a good grade that day. So when she comes home to find the results and calls the actual line, the nurse says, hey, you're pregnant. And she's like, well, what are you talking about? And the nurse asks her, were you weren't prepared for that? She says, no, I'm just 14. So then it's heartbreaking that she has to go and tell her mother, who's already raising 2 other children along with her as a single parent, that there's going to be another mouth to feed. Comes to find out, the girl was farther along than she thought. She was almost 6 months. So now there's a cycle of hospitals. There's a cycle of bills coming in. There's a cycle of trying to get prepared for this little infant that just kind of sprung out of nowhere. So 5 days after the girl turns 15, she has her child, this little boy, who cries all the damn time. She's out of her mind. She doesn't know what to do. And then she eventually does finish school, and at the time she finishes school, her son is 3, and he's in the front row cheering her on louder than anybody else in the audience. And that was the first step that made her feel extremely proud, because her son, her 3-year-old, saw her accomplish something that was very big. And in the cafeteria after the graduation, the 3-year-old says, Mommy, you did it. I'm so proud. You're so pretty. Can we get some ice cream? So Mom says, yes, we can go get ice cream. We're going to fast forward a couple of years later. Now the mom is 21 and the son is 6. So now Mom's on her own. Mom is doing her thing. But the son kind of has to stay with Grandma a little bit because, Mama has to go party and drink and get high some more and just fuck it, stay high. So a couple years after that, Mom has another oops, and now she's pregnant again. So at 23 years old, she's pregnant. She's having her second child. It's a little girl, and she's so beautiful. She's so calm and she's so sweet, but it's really kind of hard for Mom at this time. So Mom has to move out and go live in places she didn't want to live in. Mom is struggling working these dead-end jobs, and what's crazy is nobody can ever talk about Dad because neither one of them are really there. So Mom decides at some point she's going to go back to school, but not before she finds this other man who was so fine, who was charismatic, who had the brightest smile you could ever see, and his voice was so silky smooth, his skin was like chocolate, and Mama was just smitten. But Mama didn't pay attention to his demeanor when it came to her children, and she ended up marrying this dude. And so the relationship between mom and son deteriorated because there was another man that probably wasn't worth 2 pennies rubbed together in their home. Then goes through the cycle of now the son is on his way to becoming a father, and he's a teen father as well, but then he loses his first child, and that's kind of devastating him. And 9 months later, we find out that his father has been killed. So now he's upset about that as well. And during this time, the little girl is being hurt by a family member, but mom doesn't know about it. Mom doesn't see it. Mom knows that there's a change or something going on with the little girl, but she doesn't understand what's going on with her. So now we fast forward to today. The mom is standing here. She's graduated from college. She has her bachelor's degree. She's heading on to being a master's student. Well, she's a master's student in her last year, writing this thesis that is killing her, and she wishes it was over. I've raised 2 children, but I've mothered so many more. I've had so many children in my home that were nowhere near related to me, but will still come by my house and say, "Hey, Mom, how you doing?" But the thing about being a mother, even though I started really, really young, it has to be the most rewarding experience that I've ever had in my life. But it's also the most heartbreaking experience I've had in my life, because it's, at this point right now, I just really wish my kids would just like leave me alone and go about their business and just let me go on my island and like don't call me and I'll call you type thing, because they really hit that nerve right now. But I will say also this, because I'm also a grandmother now. So now the things that I didn't get to do for and with my kids, I get to do with my grandchildren. And the best thing about that is I can fill them full of sugar and send them right home to their parents. So I don't have to deal with them any longer. And I can get them when I want to get them. So if they call me and say, "Hey, Yaya, can I come over?" "Not today, baby." "No, Yaya got something to do." When all Yaya really wants to do is sleep.
I'm so appreciative of this space in which you can just lay it all out on the floor, and it's another thing to kind of honor that vulnerability and pass it on. So thank y'all for being here.